Hi. Oh, yes, we have audio. Thank you. Thank you, good people. All right. So, last talk of the day. You guys can do this. You're all beautiful. It is a small crowd. This one is shorter, so don't worry. We're not going to be here all evening. But I want to talk about some things that I've learned and that Progress in general, my company, has learned in the age of AI. I have some nifty quotes that oh, there's no screen. Oh my gosh. Did I break it? Is it me? Oh, he's fixing it. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. We're gonna have slides. If not, I can mime it out for you. Beautiful. All right. So, if you missed my last presentation, my name is Alyssa. Hello, howdy. I am from Progress. I'm a senior developer advocate, and let's do a quick session on what we've learned designing dev tools in the age of AI. So, AI coding agents. Over the last few years, we've witnessed AI coding agents turning from glorified autocomplete to autonomous code agents that can be mostly eliminate front end coding. Oh, I see what you mean. I actually can't control it's fine. We're gonna do this without. I can't control all of the screen, but we should be fine. So I went around asking different engineers, different product people, and even some marketing team different questions about what's changed for them, what are they seeing. And I love this quote by one of our VP products who was talking about how the speed of software engineering is no longer the bottleneck. I found that really powerful. We're going to skip past that intro slide. So AI didn't just change how fast we build software. It changed how we think about building it. I have an idea. Maybe if I pull up, because I don't have my notes anymore. But I don't know if you've tried the Wi-Fi here on the world's slowest Wi-Fi, so we'll see. We'll see if she can load. All right, resize. I don't think so. That's okay. Can we actually take it out of mirroring mode? They can see the notes too, and that way we can just, yes. I shall change it. Ooh, it's like a little mini game. Can I do it whilst looking down? Display. I actually don't mouse. Sorry, guys. Thank you. You're amazing. You would not believe how hard that is to do when you can't find your mouse. I feel like I should, as a good developer, know all the hotkeys. All right, we're going to go in this mode. So yes, AI did not change just how fast we're building software. It changed how we think about building it and how we think about what we're actually shipping. Yes, here we go. So here's what surprised us, and we expected speed to change. Obviously, it's going to speed up your productivity, it's going to speed up your development. But we didn't expect behavior of our customers and consumers to change this quickly. We noticed customer attention spans dropping, evaluation cycles compressing, and tolerance for friction basically disappearing. People don't explore tools the way they used to, right? They're scanning, they're testing, they're deciding, and if something doesn't make sense immediately, they're moving on. And this is more powerful than it has been in the past because I think a lot of these things can be said for past customers, but especially so right now in the age of AI. The questions that we had to ask. As a dev tools company, we were forced to take a step back and ask some uncomfortable questions. Where does AI genuinely help, right? Where does it actually create more work for us or for our consumers? What responsibilities do tool builders carry now in this new world that we're building in? And maybe more importantly than any of that, what is going to survive the hype cycle that we're living through? Because speed is exciting, but trust is fragile. And once you lose that trust, it is very difficult to win back. So, yes, as our VP of product said in that quote, the bottleneck of writing code, the writing code is no longer the bottleneck. He said, in just 1 year, AI agents have gone from glorified autocomplete to autonomous systems capable of building entire front end features. And if that's true, then something profound has shifted in our industry. That, of course, the bottleneck of not writing code, but about knowing what to build. And speed is not our constraint, our judgment is. So when we stepped back and asked those questions, the first lesson that we learned, and we have four total, and then it is a smaller audience in a shorter session. So I want to open it up to you. Be thinking about lessons that you've learned. But the first lesson is that AI is best at getting us started. Um, it One of our product leads described this really clearly. AI made refactoring and technical debt much faster, allowing teams to focus on marketing features. Validating ideas, creating proof of concepts, writing tests, all of these saw huge impact. And what it really opened up for us personally at Progress was exploration, the time to explore. At the same time, however, our engineers were very clear. AI is better at starting than finishing. It can give you momentum, but it does not give you judgment, right? We realized something very subtle, that developers don't want magic answers. They want orientation. They want something to react to, something to refine and push against. Once generation, honestly, this one shot generation, it causes more anxiety in the long run than confidence in products that we've been seeing. So it shifted the way that we thought about putting AI into our tools. We moved away from generate and disappear and towards workflows with clear stopping points, moments where humans must decide. The lesson was simple. AI should extend intent, not replace judgment. And it helps us get started, right? It's very powerful with that momentum. But when it tries to decide for us and takes the human completely out of the loop, it creates anxiety. I personally have experienced this. My husband is on the job hunt. I'm a dev advocate. He is an engineer, software engineer. And I think it was maybe a little less than a year ago, he was tasked as one of the full stack engineers on the team to essentially allow product people who are not engineers, they're not software devs, to push code up. Um, and they built that into so that every Friday it would just push live. It would just deploy. It's like whatever product had vibe coded, it would just deploy. And a couple months ago, we got a phone call and they were closing their doors and they could no longer support the company. So I really feel this one more powerfully, not just from what I've learned at Progress with our dev tools that we're creating, but with watching his company and then just story after story of developer, whether they went through layoffs or whether they're just experiencing that flux right now with AI. So I think a very important lesson is that it should extend intent, but not replace judgment. The second lesson we learned came from being humbled. AI generated code often looks and sounds correct. Clean, structured, convincing, and very, very often just plain wrong. So clever does not equal correct. One of our engineers described it this way: code often looks right, but it breaks in subtle ways. Hallucinated API endpoints, right? Configs that just don't exist, or configs that do exist that aren't there. Patterns that compile but don't scale. And what makes this tricky is that on the surface, it can sound so convincing and look so correct unless you know the framework that it's built in or you know the language that it's built in. We've always told developers not to treat frameworks like a black box. I asked one of my fellow developer advocates, Catherine, to give me her insights on this. She said, gaining even a high level of understanding of how these models work internally for her really helped demystify the magic. So on this lesson, there's kind of a sub lesson. AI doesn't know truth in every context or every code base. It predicts plausibility. So when a tool is confidently wrong, as I mentioned earlier, the trust of your users, obviously, be that devs who, like for us, dev tools, we make tools for developers, or whether it's your end users, that trust is so valuable and it can erode so quickly. So we stopped asking how to make our products more impressive and flashy with AI, and we started asking how to make them more grounded. And what this led for us, I'll be highlighting a couple of, I guess, key products that we're working on or have shipped already throughout these lessons learned. But the first one was our MCP servers. I freaking love our MCP servers. Product aware AI, right? Framework aware constraints. and opinionated scaffolding over open-ended guessing. So here is like a video. I'm gonna like make sure we're muted. Yes, we're muted. Cool. So here's a quick video run through of me basically programming with and without. Is it going? It's not going. There it goes. So I'm grabbing the ticket, and I personally am a cursor flipping lover. I'm addicted to cursor, but this was done with Copilot. Many of our users are VS Code and Copilot users. So I was trying to create a video to walk them through MCP servers. This one, I was attempting, excuse me, in an Angular application to add Kendo UI buttons, and that was all I wanted to do. So I created a little like list here, and then in the styles, I'm inline talking with AI. I'm like, hey, let's make these Kendo buttons. Through this video, I proceed to ask it 3 different times end line to make them Kendo buttons. And each time it's like, cool, did it, cool, did it. And I'm obviously aware of what the syntax should look like and what the buttons should look like. And each time we were a little bit closer, but never quite there. Eventually I move over and I ask it, and in the actual chat window, I'm like, hey, so these are not actually buttons. I get an npm install request, and I was like, okay, we're actually moving because I know that we have to install. Fourth time's the fourth time's the charm, right? We still don't have the right components. And so at this point, I'm playing with it so many times. It was either the 4th or the 5th time when I finally, just Copilot, not our MCP servers, got it to actually implement not only our buttons with like class K button, but also the styles of what like the default button should look like. There we go. And I was like, finally, you did it. That took so much longer than it should have. Then I go on in the next prompt to just use our MCP server, but to build out the entire layout, right? To scaffold the whole thing. And so you'll see that through this video where I call kendo-ui-generator, and then I say, go ahead and build out the rest of this layout. Here's what I'm hoping it looks like. So we're gonna fast forward a little bit. Boo, 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 eventually, at the very end, I end up asking it to change the theme. There it is. There she is. So it's at times it can be insanely frustrating because you're like, we really should have been there. I could have been there by now. But there are other powerful moments, especially later and later, the farther into this game, and especially the more help that I get it. I really like, I think it was Osmani, Adi Osmani. He is one of like the leads at Google, and he said in one of his blog posts that we're no longer developers, but we're orchestrators, right? A systems orchestrators. Like, you should use this as your tool and you should use that as your tool. And I feel like that's where development is leading. So the MCP server, that was part of lesson 2, because engineering speed is no longer the bottleneck, but giving it that filling that context aware gap was huge. Our third lesson is that fast isn't free. AI makes this generated output code cheaper, but the ownership never gets cheaper. The ownership of that code, the long-term maintaining that code base never gets cheaper. Using CLI agents successfully requires certain skills, and it's the improvement rate is so fast that observations from 3 to 4 months ago are already outdated. So at our organizational level, it was a huge wake-up call that these tools require so much skill. And so, let's see, this one. AI doesn't just accelerate success, it accelerates mistakes just as efficiently and very confidently accelerates those mistakes. The same systems that can scaffold a feature in seconds can scaffold a broken pattern just as quickly. And because the feedback loop is shorter, the margin for error is smaller. So we stopped treating AI output like a first draft, and we started treating it like an untrusted input. It must be reviewed, it must be validated, it has to be owned by someone, by some human. This is where the next progress product that I wanted to highlight is our observability platform. When AI systems move faster, the mistakes, as we said, move faster too. And so the realization of this speed and the ownership of the code is how we designed this next tool. Our observability platform is part of that response. It's not so much about just watching code, it's about watching reasoning and about being able to debug not just a failure, but a decision. Because again, if AI accelerates execution, then visibility has to scale with it. So, yes, let's recap all our lessons so far. AI is great at getting us started. Clever does not always equal correct, and fast is not free. Altogether, that brought us to our fourth lesson. AI does, in fact, belong in the product. This has been something that was questioned back and forth, right? Does it? But I really believe it belongs in the product thoughtfully. The final lesson kind of is just built on all three lessons before. If AI reshapes developer workflows, it also reshapes users' expectations. And so we noticed customer retention spans, like I said, are dropping and evaluation cycles are compressing. Tolerance is disappearing. Our users don't struggle because they can't code. We're blessed to have developer users. They struggle because their tools are too dense. Their data is too complex. Their workflows are buried. AI isn't a replacement UI, it's an augmentation layer. So, when we embedded AI into the product thoughtfully, it doesn't take control, it suggests and surfaces intent. A very real product integration that I wanted to show you all is our smart grid. So, here in this demo, you'll notice that we have now our search bar, but our search bar isn't just a search bar. It can control any part of the API of our grid. And honestly, this is one of the best uses, in my opinion, of AI because it's not a chatbot or an extra window that's popping up and bothering the user. Rather, it's an embedded feature. People know about the search. They anticipate a search being on the grid, especially one as dense as this. But the grid has so many features with it, and it can be kind of overwhelming to get to what you want. And so, with real human language, if you can ask for the data that you're hoping to see, and then with AI, you can filter that into the API and how the entire interface works. Because I'll share my GitHub at the end, but I recently worked on, I'm an Angular dev, but I recently worked on a Blazor app for one of my buddies. And not just the grid, but the entire interface updates based on what the user is hoping to see. And I feel like this is where AI belongs, thoughtfully, but with real, like, I guess, intention. So you can scan that. This one is, I think this one's Blazor, but we do Angular, Vue, jQuery, Maui, a lot of other .NET tools that I don't know. So yes, you can check out the demo in your flavor. All right, how much time? We're doing okay. I do want to save some time for chat and also let you go early because it is late. But let's do a quick recap. So yes, these are the four lessons that we've learned, and I kind of wanted to end it. All of them kind of point to humans over bots. I have this conversation often with many team members. Um, in the panic, in the fear, in the change, we are often chasing the unseen. And I really like to point it back to cool, but who is this serving? And oftentimes it's not humans anymore. And so I try to like steer us a little bit closer um, towards the true guiding North Star. Um, because AI does, of course, change the speed and it changes our entire industry, but humans are still going to own the outcomes of that. These are, I'm going to jump to these. So when I went around asking these questions, we were like a 3,300 person company that's global. So I wasn't personally, like physically walking up to doors, but went around asking different teams. These were the questions. I broke them into sections: big picture shift, where AI helps, trust and confidence, tooling and guardrails, looking forward. So I want to use the rest of the time that we have. Feel free to go if you are exhausted. But I want to chat with you all about what you're seeing, because I think these are really things like what has surprised you most when AI tools entered the game, right? Where has AI created more work for you or confusion? What's an example of AI sounding right, but it is clearly not? Where do you feel human review is absolutely non negotiable? What is one lesson that you would give to another dev that is adopting AI today? So I want to have this conversation. Do we have a mic for Q&A? Did I lose our mic? Do we have a mic runner? Yes, for them. Maybe. Oh, there you are. Hi. So yeah, I want to hear from you guys and know like what are you guys seeing? And feel free to head out if you are done with the day. Thank you for being here. But yes, does anyone have anything to chime in? Because our lessons aren't mind-boggling, but they are very important to the products that we're building right now. And I want to have like a little discussion, or if you have questions of your own. Really hard to see. You might be able to see better.
Hi. So regarding the first question, I realized that how I approach work differently is that when I'm stuck, I feel like it can help me to get unstuck just because
Yeah.
it shows a lot of different possibilities. So you get another view.
No, absolutely. I find that
Mm.
extremely powerful as well. Thank you so much for sharing. Anyone else want to answer one of these questions or have a question of your own? I like squint weirdly at you. Oh, one down here.
So I won't talk from the dev perspective. I'll talk from the compliance perspective because I'm on a total different path. And I'd say that it caused me a headache, this whole thing. Because I mean, I'm 100% with you to use responsibly AI, that it cannot, substitute people. But, the hallucinations and the way that people used AI as, like a go-to tool was something that scared us because we didn't know, the effect that this would have
Yeah.
going forward, and this is something that still troubles me. So, looking forward, if I may say, we do need AI, but as you say, people and the younger ones, again, developers and the younger, professionals need to understand what they're using, what they're doing, and they need to know how things work before they use it to, for productivity, to save time and not to substitute on something that they don't know. And this is something that's stressed in this conference the past couple of days by many people. And that, I think, that should be one of the key takeaways as well. So,
Thank you. I think we have this and that, and then feel free to continue raising hands. We've got, I think, 10 more minutes with this room.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, on section B, basically, yes, AI in general saves a lot of time, but here's the issue. Since it saves time, you are able to deliver more stuff for the client, so the client gets more greedy. So it's not that you actually save more time, you have to actually work more, so it's like a double sword,
Yes.
which sucks.
Yeah.
And the second thing that, like, from a dev's perspective, is like, okay, sure, it helps. It's very great. It does all the job for you. But what I realize is like, you need AI to actually cross-check and validate, to audit AI.
Yeah.
So we have like, in order to be like 100% sure and trust your workflows and everything,
Yeah.
you have like to, which is like, you're not developing any more code. You're just observing and writing documents, and which it's like the future. But
No,
yeah,
I feel that. I have had many friends who feel like their developer skills, syntax knowledge, coding chops, is all degrading right now because, like you said, you're just you're orchestrating AI to, I mean, these massive PRs, right, that are being generated and that you're going through. And I love that you touched on the customer as well and like that greed. And it's not like you're like, what am I going to do with this free time, right? Like it's not like that at all. It's actually, I think it's kind of worse. I feel like the expectations are even based on what they're hearing, cranked up past what's actually doable. And so now I feel like we're, at least from my perspective and from my friends, not just at Progress, but elsewhere, are just feeling this intense pressure right now. So thank you for your thoughts. You had one? Yeah.
Regarding section B, I would
Yes.
like to comment that AI has helped me a lot when I do brainstorming or investigating on a new area. For example, in the company that I work, where the company specialized in geospatial data. But I'm an Angular developer, so when the boss asked me to do something with the core product, it was very difficult to change my mindset.
Yes.
Yeah, and he helped me a lot on this matter.
I've been adoring that part of it. I feel like it's very unpopular in the developer space to talk positively about AI in any way because of the fear and the change. But to be able to be like, I don't understand something super basic. Like, I've never taken the time to understand the inject like function in Angular. And to be able to take a minute, because it only takes a freaking minute now, and be like, hey buddy, can you tell me about the inject function, just like the history of it, the API behind it, how it's being like, and I can just read through and I'm like, cool, now I get it. Like, and even from one of my coworkers had to take a sudden absence and the marketing team was like, what the frick are we going to do? You guys promised us these videos on the MCP server. And I was like, well, with AI's help, I can do the .NET side now. And I can say that confidently and walk into it. And so I do love those things about it. And I love the speed at which I'm able to learn and to grow my own self. But I think back to his point, don't love the expectation side and the squeeze side and the inaccurate expectation side of it as well. So, anyone else? Thank you guys so much. This has been a great interactive chat. We've got like 5 minutes left, but also I don't want to keep you too long because it's a beautiful city and a beautiful day. All right, I'm gonna let. Yeah. Yeah. I have yet to. When I told the company, yes, I will make this video for customers in Blazor, and I went and I made the whole app, and you can find it on my GitHub, which I'm actually going to put up real quick. This one. I'm Alyssa Michelle on GitHub. So when I did that, I then required one of our Blazor devs to do a peer review, and I required one of our Blazor product owners to do a script review. Because usually, as an Angular person, I can, on any product, confidently write about the code, write the code, and move. But I built in those extra steps of, I wrote this code, and I even used, Microsoft has an MCP server. I used their MCP server to double check my code before taking up my dev's time. But then I did send it on to have a real human review it before I ship with it, because of course I would never, and it's so the same thing with the inject function. I constantly ask it, give me proof of that, show me in the docs. And then I point back and then I read in the documentation, yep. Like, I'm always constantly double checking it, but I'm very like, I love the learning side of it. I love the thinking, like, how are you thinking? Where are you getting those insights from? And so that's kind of feeding behind that, less of a paranoia and more of an, a deep diving out of joy. Yes. Yeah, no, but I completely understand, and I love that you brought up the compliance side because so freaking important right now. Thank you. Anyone else? Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day and enjoy the rest of Devoxx. I'll see you around. Thank you.